That's how we own it.
Welcome to Street Politicians. I am Mysonne.
And I'm Tamika Mallory.
And we are happy to have you here tuning in. Thanks for the support and love. And we hope that every time you come to this podcast that you get a little something that you can leave with, that you enjoy, that you learn, a smile, a laugh, educational. So, we're happy to have you out here, man.
Yeah,
So,
Street Politicians is all about us learning together.
That's right. That's right. So what's going on with you?
Well, the end of a decade and the beginning of a new one, right?
Yep.
Some shit changed, some shit hasn't. So
Most shit hasn't, but for the most part.
but personally, each one of us, I actually posted a meme that said that living from January to December is no joke, and thanking God for keeping us, keeping our minds, keeping our health, our spirits, our families. So much is happening in the world, and the fact that we keep living every day with all the challenges is a blessing.
Sure is, man. It's
feels
definitely a
like a
blessing. We got Trump ain't leaving the White House. How about that?
I saw a meme today. It wasn't even a meme. It was a tweet from Mike Huckabee, who ran for president, former governor. I don't think he's still a governor. And he was talking about how he's been selected as the host or the chair of the 2024 committee to re-elect Trump for a third term because the Democrats are, this is illegal what they're doing and it's wrong, and impeachment is, it's unfair, and it was a witch hunt and all this stuff. And, and we have been saying for a while
Trump ain't leaving.
that,
Hey,
listen, Michael Bloomberg did it in New York, and this is one of the most the most powerful cities in the world, and he did it here where he extended his term. His term limits was 2 terms, so that would have been 8 years. And when it was getting towards the end of the second term, he was able to get the city council to vote for a third term, which of course the city council members were also able to be in office for a third term. But he, as mayor, wanted to stay for a third term because he said that, the city needed him, that he was doing so much economically and turning the city around and, all that. And by the way, I know from council members that I was friends with that there was a lot of pain in the decisions that they made.
Yeah.
There was, there were people who knew personal background stuff about those folks and was like literally coming to them saying, you better vote for this extension, the term limits to be lifted, if you will, based upon us like putting your personal business in public.
They got blackmail.
Well, I'm not going to say that they were blackmailed because
I say it for you.
Well, listen, I'm not trying to be sued by the Bloomberg swarm.
I ain't
but
say who did
I'm
nothing.
just saying.
I just said people were blackmailed.
Exactly.
And Trump ain't leaving the White House. That's what I said.
So, you never know.
Okay.
I don't know if he's going to leave.
The man has formed a coup, and if you look at one of the posts on my page, there was a guy talking about his 357 is making sure that nothing happens to Trump.
Yeah.
And if people
say
try
it'll
to
be civil
impeach him,
war.
it's going to be civil war. And, and I've been saying that for a long time. He's running the White House like the mafia. Like, he's really running like a mob boss.
Right.
So it's not past him. Like, when he doesn't feel like he wants to leave, I can't see the reason why he would.
He has to.
Okay, well,
and
good
I
luck.
think our
Trump is a gangster, man.
He is a gangster,
He
but
is
that doesn't
gangster
mean
in
that
the
he's
White
going to
House.
be able. Because you know what?
Right.
So is Nancy Pelosi, and Auntie Maxine is up in there like, oh, he think he gonna
Listen,
stay. Cool.
I'm definitely with Auntie Maxine. I'm with her.
Exactly.
We
So
can figure that out.
and I'm not a big fan of like any of them. Pelosi, I mean, obviously Auntie Maxine, but
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of any of them. But I do know that what Pelosi has done is something that Trump tried. He tried everything that he could to really be like threaten her without like calling her out her name, but damn near. He was really trying to intimidate her in the media, even in person, and she still went forward with the impeachment because the man is a traitor. He's a traitor. His behavior is treasonous, and really, he should have been impeached a long time ago. But hey, we are where we are. So
Yeah,
that's
that's
that.
a fact.
I really, literally refuse to get myself deep into the impeachment proceedings and watching everything because what I think is more important than the sensationalism of what's happening in this moment is us focusing on getting our people ready for 2020. And I'm not even talking about registering to vote. I'm talking about mentally, like folks need to know how serious it is for them to be in the game and for them to be able to understand everything that's happening. So,
But do you think impeachment is going to benefit us, or it's going to be negative for us? Like,
I think you damned if you do, damned if you don't. I
Yeah.
think that no matter what, the people are losing in this moment because I don't see anybody running the government. Like the government, I don't even know what the government does because everything
It's
I
running
hear is we lose food stamps.
We lose this.
The children being separated. The young man died in the jail just last week. Actually, Yandy, she sent me a piece, like a clip of the young man falling out in his cell. He had the flu, and there was another person in the cell as well under those like silver blankets or whatever. He was in there as well. They quarantined them, put them in the cell, and the boy died.
That's crazy.
He fell out and died like a teenager.
But those things are not, they are just so common. Being formerly incarcerated, I know so many people who have passed from similar circumstances. If it wasn't from somebody beating them, it was just lack of taking care of their health or them being put into the box and then just left isolated, not fed properly. So those are common things. I was just told by one of the friends I have that's incarcerated, they're supposed to start putting body cams on the officers. I think they started
in the jails?
prisons. I think he said that some of the
that would be good.
Yeah, some of the
but
officers,
you want to assume.
but they only use it. They only use it when like there's an incident. So it's not like all day they wearing it. But when somebody pulls a pin and they says an incident and they have to go to deal with one of the prisoners, they have to show the camera. That's what he was telling me.
Well, I mean, because the cameras that's all around are supposed to be able to show you what's going on, and somehow for years and years and years that doesn't really work. But
yeah, because they put them in blind spots.
They do.
If you look at where they put them like right outside that you can see in front of the cell. You can't.
But
see
they're not
they
supposed
do
to go
once they
in your cell
but they
unless
do it all the
they
time.
have to.
Yeah, they do it all the time, and nobody gets to see. Like I just seen one online the other day where a guy was getting processed. They walked him in the cell. Next thing you know, he comes out limping, his eyes all beat up. Then nobody shows how it happened, but they just show that he came out beat up. So.
See, that's some of the stuff that has not changed, right?
Oh no, definitely.
In this new decade. Let me see what else is happening. Michael Vick. I mean, he's getting this opportunity, which we're saying is an award, and I guess that's
it's an honor. It's not a reward. It's he's been voted as one of the captains for the Pro Bowl. So that's like when you have legendary status, they choose you as one of the captains. Mike Vick pretty much revolutionized the quarterback position. He was one of the first multi-talented running back / quarterbacks who ran for a bunch of yards. So he had this kind of multitask that he was able to do as a quarterback, which prior to him wasn't being done. The quarterback was primarily the person who threw the ball, handed the ball off. He wasn't a runner, and he revolutionized.
Yeah,
I
my
keep
son
saying
makes up
revolutionary.
words. He
No,
makes up
revolutionary
words. But it'd
is
be
a word.
good. Now,
Revolutionary.
sometimes the words be all right. They fit.
I don't make
You
up
and
words.
Jesse Jackson, because Reverend Jackson definitely makes up
No, it's not.
words.
I just know how to make vocabulary evolve. You know
That
what I'm saying?
is the most bullshit I ever heard, but it was
truth,
good.
Though. You got to
It
help.
was
You got to
good.
make, because we can't keep using the same vernacular. We got to evolve our vocabulary.
No, but I think that means using words in the English.
Yeah,
like,
that's a word. Revolutionary is a word.
I know that, but but you know what I'm talking about.
No,
I will pull one up for you where you made up a whole word.
A whole
it
word.
worked though.
So you try.
No, it usually has the
position?
root. It usually has the root
that's a
of
word.
another
The root word is a word. What are you talking about? I don't be making up no words. That's crazy.
Anyway, so there was a petition
they put
that
out
had
the petition.
over 400,000 signatures on it from people who said they did not want him to be honored. What you're saying is really more so positioning, like him being recognized as the captain in the bowl, and then it is.
They just didn't want him there. So pretty much because
I don't think people knew that. I think the way the media said he's being honored, folks signed it thinking he was about to stand up and get some, special
But
award.
if that's what they did,
I
it's
know.
the same
I'm just
thing.
saying that's what people were
Yeah, well,
reacting. So I
people
don't think a lot of folks understood exactly what was happening.
Common sense ain't that common no more, and people don't even. They just want to grab onto social media and they want to attack things. Michael Vick he served his time for his infraction. With the dogfighting situation, and he did his time. He paid his fines. He came out. He
did a tour.
He's did
apology
a tour. He's been an
tour.
apology tour. He's been an advocate
Yeah.
against animal rights.
For animal rights.
for animal rights. Like he's been doing his job.
He has.
So for somebody to make a statement or sign a petition to stop him from being anything, getting honored or being an honorary captain, is just ludicrous to me. And it's like, when do you pay your debts to society? Like, what does rehabilitation look like?
So Jules, our Julianne Hoffenberg, who works with us. She's a white woman, and she is one of our allies. We rather call her an accomplice. She's more than an ally.
She's a sister.
She's our sister. She's down with us, working with us in the struggle. So I happen to turn on Facebook, open up Facebook, and the first thing that popped up was that she was up there with her. She was basically promoting the petition, asking people to sign the petition against Michael Vick. Now, Jules loves her dog.
Oh, yeah. She's
very
she's
serious.
An avid dog lover. Like, her dog is like
a child,
person. Like,
a whole person.
A whole person.
And I understand she loves her dog. But I wrote to her. I said, Jules, the question that I have for you, right? Like, being a part of our movement, she is often around people, particularly black men,
who are formerly incarcerated,
who may have killed someone, who may have hurt another person. I mean, she's been around all these people. And we support, all of us together, the idea that these black men, black and brown men, who are entering society again, should be, their time is up. They've done their time, and that if they're being honored for turning their lives around, for helping young people, for whatever, that you support that. And I asked her, you support that. You support these men who may have killed another black man, may have hurt someone. You support them being acknowledged for turning their lives around after serving their time. Of course, she agrees with that. I'm like, you can't be okay with that. And then say, but you can't be honored for killing a dog, because that puts more value on the dog's life than another black man.
Exactly.
And we specifically support something called the Time Done campaign, which our brother Jay Jordan is the executive director of an organization in California that has this Time Done campaign that really is specifically designed to deal with that. Mm-hmm. That when you come home from prison, when a person comes home from prison, there are too many barriers for folks being able to enter society and do work and be productive citizens. Mm-hmm. And you support that.
And she does.
And she's a great supporter.
She is. I mean, I think...
But she came back, just to be clear, after she thought about it. She said, you know what? You're 100% right. And now she's like the biggest advocate online.
Because that's the thing about being an ally and accomplice and someone who leads in love, is that when somebody gives you the truth, or somebody is able to change your mind honestly based on facts and based on really just sitting you down and walking you through something, and you able to say, yo, you know what, I made a mistake, or now I see it your way. That's what it's about, because we can just argue just for the sake of arguing all day. So, like, I put out a post also about Michael Vick's situation, and I was just talking about the comparison to him and Ray Lewis, and a lot of people were giving me flack, and I understood.
I was one of those.
You was one of the people, and for me, it was just like understanding, like you said. Like, Michael Vick killed a dog. Ray Lewis
did more than kill dogs.
Let me change that. Michael Vick was found guilty, or he pled guilty to having something to do with the dog fighting ring. I don't know.
He was facilitating.
I don't know if he was.
That is facilitating.
Okay, I don't know that.
His father said
yes
that this is his thing.
Okay.
Fighting dogs.
Okay.
But even if it was in a house that belonged to him, that's still facilitating.
Okay, so he facilitated. But what I was saying was Ray Lewis was involved in a situation which led to the death of 2 black men. And he pled guilty to a lesser charge, which was associated with the death of the 2 black men. So I was saying, we're okay with a black man who kills a black man or is responsible or in any way has a connection to the death of 2 black men, but we're not okay with a black man who is connected to the death of dogs. And, it just shows to me that the black man's life is less valuable in America's eyes, So that was my argument. A lot of people seen it my way, and a lot of people, then there was this discourse, and there was
well, my only issue was that I just felt like I hate us even having to talk about what another black man has or has not done when there's so much that white folks have done.
But I just wanted
and they've not ever. But I get your point. You made me understand your position that, basically there's 2 different black men with 2 different scenarios, but one is responsible for the death of dogs, and the other one is responsible potentially or involved somehow in the killing of a man.
And it's the same organization.
And NFL
so that
is
shows the hypocrisy, because he was being just voted as one of the top 100 players 2 weeks ago.
Right.
So there was no petition. If there was, please show me. I didn't see a petition at all for somebody to say that he didn't deserve it. So, there is hypocrisy, and I'm glad we pointed it out.
And now he's going to be the honorary
captain. Be the captain. So
and that's a good thing.
Good looking NFL. Yeah, did something good.
They did something good. They got a lot of other stuff.
Yeah, they got work to do. They got work to do.
But one of the things that I'm very really concerned about. So, I'm not getting myself caught up into impeachment stuff, right? Because I can't take it. I get mad. I start yelling at the TV and calling everybody and saying we need a march and a protest. But I am paying attention to, as I said, nobody doing any work in the government. Most of our cabinet members are acting. None of them are actually confirmed cabinet members. He really is running, like you said, the government like the mafia, because he knows that the loophole is having everyone that's acting cabinet members, because he can't get people confirmed, which means that there's a vote with the House and they confirm.
But why does he need to confirm?
Right, so
as long as he got you doing the job
exactly,
anyway, and you still getting paid, and you still work for him, so he doesn't need to confirm.
But the reason why it's important for these people to be confirmed is because it gives the American public an opportunity to see through the hearings and other things who these individuals are.
We know why it's important to us. But to him, it ain't important.
And then the people that we put in office get an opportunity to vote. And so he has circumvented that process, and he has all these people acting. So
Trump ain't leaving the White House.
So this guy, William Barr, who's the acting attorney general, which means he is the top cop in the country, he was speaking to a group which included law enforcement officers, and he started talking about how when veterans come home from war, they are acknowledged. There's parades, and there's a lot of veterans that would disagree with that. Let's be clear. But he said there's so much love for veterans coming home, and good. And he said, but police officers are not treated the same, and that certain communities
that's code for black people,
need to start respecting police officers, because if not, we may find ourselves being, left without protection. Our communities may be left without protection. That is absolutely crazy.
No, it's not crazy, because the problem with this whole situation with Trump and with Barr and all these things is these people are just saying things that have been happening. You understand what I'm saying? So when you hear Trump spew his rhetoric and people like, yo, you heard what he said? No, this is what America has been. This is what they've been thinking. When you hear William Barr say what he says, it's what the police been doing. They either over-police our communities to where they make us just criminals. They don't come in there to help and really save, protect, and serve. They've never done that. So ultimately, this is why the King Stop Killing Kings motto and Raising Kings motto that I've created is something that is going to be needed in our society. We have to get back to police community policing. We have to get back to the men in the community and the women in the community coming hand in hand and being in unison and being able to dictate what goes on in the community so we don't have to call police. Because we see what happens when the police come to our communities. They either harm someone who called for help. Mentally ill people are being shot down in their own homes. When somebody calls to help them, they're being killed. Kids are being handcuffed and beat up on the corners for walking down the block because they quote unquote fit description. So the bottom line is we have to get back to that model anyway. We have to tell Mr. Barr, thank you. Because what that's going to do is call us to start policing our own communities. It's going to call us to be a lot more responsible. It's going to call us to be a lot more unified and look to each other for solutions before we call these people into our communities that are just throwing our kids in jail or hurting and killing them. So I say thank you. Just like I said thank you to Trump, I told you these people were needed. I knew that any other president but Trump was going to have us sit around for a few years and be like, look, we did something. Oh, look, Hillary's here, the first woman. Wow, we did something. Something is happening. Ain't nothing happening in America. And Trump just lets you see that. America's been racist. It's been directed at us. White supremacy has always been the mantra of America, and now you get to see it. So when you hear these people say these things and you hear the people talking about if Trump is impeached, it's going to be civil war, and you hear Barr saying, hey, the police are going to stop doing if certain communities don't respect them, it gives you the reality and the rude awakening that people in our communities, the people in our communities need to wake up and start governing their damn self.
Well, yeah. Okay, first of all, I think that, yes, there are problems with police and community. Absolutely. But generally, police officers go to work to do their job, go home. They don't want to have issues. There are the bad cops, if you will, and the good cops sit there and watch it happen so we can classify them all together, because unless you are an Edwin Raymond or one of the, or the officers who are considered whistleblowers or people who really stand up within a department, you are part of the problem. But most police officers do try to do their job every day, and unfortunately they work within a system that if they facilitate their job the ways in which they're being trained, it means they're either over policing or under policing our people. I agree with you about that, 1,000%. I still think when you are in the not an elected official, but when you are representing the country, right? You're the top cop. You're the person that is setting the tone for what happens in the country. You cannot say things like that. It incites tension on both sides of the aisle. It puts police in danger and it puts communities in danger, because now you basically are telling us that if we hold a protest, then the police can just come in and do whatever they want to us or they can hurt us, then our response to that is going to be a visceral response. It's not good. So I think it's wrong. I think the rhetoric is extremely dangerous. I do agree with you that there has to be a movement to take care of our own communities. And I don't know that we can use the words police. I think we do need different language.
I think that we do need to evolve the language.
We have to find a different way.
I'm going to have to get rid of my words.
You have to make up a word. Yeah. Because we have to find a way.
Because we're policing. Policing just is the stigma and the negativity attached to that word. It doesn't even fit what it is that we want in our community.
we do got to find a different way to be able to describe what it is that we need to do. And I do think the King Stop Killing Kings movement is so important, because what you're basically doing is taking matters into your own hands and you have so many community partners where across the country people are like, we're going to go out and work on kings to stop the killing in their own communities, which would give us
negativity in general.
It's a culture shift. Exactly. It's not just about shooting. It's not just, even though we do work on those efforts as well, but it's not about that. It's a culture shift, and even queens and a lot of women are involved in helping people who are gender nonconforming. People are involved because they understand the importance of, like, when the men in our community are healthy, when we have a king's mindset, then it lends itself to a more positive space, but people don't need to come to our communities to lock us up and to have so much contact with the men in blue, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that we have to be able to create, is a model for how people can take care of their own communities, as we always have. We always have. In fact, in New York, there was a police slowdown over some issue. I don't remember what it was, but they were pissed off with everybody for whatever. People were protesting the police. Might have been around stop and frisk. And the data showed that when their efforts decreased, crime went down. Because I think it's something to be said about people feeling like folks are in your community that don't really necessarily have your best interests at heart. Just thinking about even in Queens, they have these big towers where police officers are near the parks and everything, and they're watching everything that's going on. But yet a 14-year-old boy was shot to death right next to the tower, is like literally where this microphone is over the park. And the little boy was shot in the park, shot dead, basketball player. I guess he was, shooting his last shot. And so what is the point?
They're not doing anything. And that's what I'm saying. That's why we have to take matters back into our own hands.
Yeah. No, we absolutely do. We do. And then this week, I mean, when you talk about like changing the culture, the whole issue around this guy, Juice WRLD, who I've never heard of. Then again, there was a song on the radio the other day, and I was like, oh, man,
Yeah,
I kind of like that song.
Yeah, he has some good music. Young boy, 21 years of age, OD'd. There's different accounts of why it happened, but it's been common knowledge that he was an avid and excessive user of lean, quote unquote codeine, that these kids are taking, and perks, and his music reflected that, talked about it. He talked about how artists such as Future influenced him from his mixtape, the Dirty Sprite mixtape, which he heard when he was only 11 years old, and he was inspired and wanted to sip lean. Like he said, he just wanted to be on lean, and I had a conversation about someone about this, and I was like, this culture of drug culture, which also has been a culture of suicide culture. Like if you listen to the music, there's so much pain and drug usage, and people are saying, oh, these kids are they just medicating because they're dealing with pain and trauma. And, I understand being young and being confused, and I understand just looking at social media. Social media is doing so much damage to these kids because they're trying to live a life that is not even attainable, because the life that is being shown to them is not even real. It's
not just the kids.
No,
it's
but
grown folks
it's
on there trying to live somebody else's life.
But it's even worse when you're young and you're trying to figure something out, and you think you see somebody's best 60 seconds of their life, and you're looking at their best 60 seconds, and you're judging your whole life by that, not knowing that they done propped this and put this money here, and they took a picture in front of this camera, and they put this background here, and you saying, Dad, why is my life not like this? And and these kids have been programmed that this perks and this lean and this drug culture is something to to aspire to, and
it's like glorified.
No, it's definitely glorified.
I don't think that they're aspiring.
No, they are.
It.
They are. You listen. They're
not trying to get to it.
If you listen to the interview that I put on my page, that Juice WRLD was talking about the way he felt when he listened to Future's Dirty Sprite mixtape, and he was like, yo, I couldn't wait. I was like, yo, I gotta get me some lean. Yo, where's it at? Like, he said, I was a basketball player, I was good in sports and all that, but as soon as I heard that, I just wanted to sip lean. I just wanted to get high.
But people said you was a hater when you talked about Future.
But they always,
these kids
listen,
pills
because that's the thing that's being glorified. Future's quote unquote this megastar in hip hop. So when you talk against the megastar, that when you go against the status quo and the trend, everybody gonna say you're a hater because you don't got what he got, so you just mad, you want to shoot him down. This is not about that. This is another black man. I'm happy that he's able to escape poverty and able to feed his family and provide beyond the means that most of the people in our community, and I'm happy for him, but not on the backs. Not on the not at the expense of our children, not feeding our kids poison. If that's what it's gonna take for you to attain some level of monetary wealth, then I don't think it's worth it, and not for me anyway. So I've always been... It's
probably not even necessary.
It's not, because you already here at this point, and I think...
But Future said something. Did he respond?
I think he said, I'm sorry or whatever, but it was like, in response to him, it wasn't so much of him. But I just think at some point, you have to do more than just do a little interview saying, yeah, I said this and this and that. I think some point...
What do you mean? He said what?
I said, oh, yeah, I know I said that, because he's done interviews saying, yeah, I've taken lean, or I haven't taken lean. I don't even take lean. I used to. I don't do it no more. But I can't say that to the people because then my following is going to stop following me because that's what they believe I do. And when that's how you feel,
That's ignorant.
it's terribly ignorant, and you're misleading and misguiding these kids so that you can make a couple dollars. So I'm gonna be okay with that. I'm always speak against that. And if that's what's called the hater, then I'm okay with the hater title. I'm okay.
We know you okay with the hater title
Yeah.
because you always going against the
Always
status quo.
go against the status quo, man. But it's sad when you look at what the drug it's a culture of drugs.
It
now.
is, definitely.
It's not like before people were smoking a little weed here and there. Now, when you talk about these pills, they popping pills like it's Tic Tacs or something.
But I saw, I think it was Charlemagne and Amanda Seales talking about how it's deeper than just taking drugs, right? Like you said, the pain that people are suffering, what folks are going through every day. And I think you're right. Like as I'm sitting here really processing your statement, it probably is that folks are, even no matter how successful they are, they're still trying to get to some mystified place. When I think of hip hop of our time, like the Queen Latifah hip hop time, the WuTang Clan, I feel like maybe weed, because when you think about Wu-Tang, there was a lot of weed. But I don't know if people were like taking that much medication.
It wasn't.
Just taking anything.
But
To make it.
Not saying that they weren't doing it, because there was always drug use. Like cocaine was a thing that under the table, if you was somebody that had some level of money or status, people would, they called it little cocaine and they did it whatever. But it wasn't putting music to where it was glorified. It was
That's a personal thing.
Personal thing that they did. It wasn't trying to make kids.
That's why I don't know, because I didn't hear it.
Exactly.
All the time.
And you find out if you was in the circles with people, you find out he was doing, doing that, and it was never glorified.
Well, they were singing Mary Jane. I didn't know Mary Jane was about weed until I got to be.
But Mary Jane was something. But weed was glorified because just like right now, weed is damn near legal. So we understand the different levels of, like, you ain't finding people overdosing on weed. You know what I'm saying?
They walking around acting like they overdosed on it.
I hear you, but the reality of the situation is that these pills and this person lean is killing people at a higher rate than anything.
Because the Major League Baseball, they decided to treat marijuana like alcohol. This week they said they're no longer going to test for marijuana because they're trying to get to the opioid abuse like that. And, I read a story the other day that said, we need to stop acting like opioids is just a white people problem. Yes, it's being treated different. So there's a disparity and the hypocrisy around how they treated crack versus, now how they're treating opioid abuse. So we know that. But in terms of understanding the issue, the seriousness of the issue, all our people are caught up in it. And it's all ages. It's, young people. I had a cousin contacting me the other day telling me that she needs, $25. I'm like, what do you need $25 for? And then it clicked for me. She just need a few pills to be able to get by. That's very serious.
It is. It's extremely serious, man. And we have to treat it like it's serious. And that's why I think hip-hop being pretty much the staple of the culture, and pretty much these are the vanguards of our culture. So when you are giving that message and you being very, irresponsible, to say the least, and you giving that message and you glorifying it to these kids, knowing that they holding on to every word that you say because they believe you. And if you're not giving them the facts, if you're not saying, even if that's something that you're doing, if you're not telling them how it's hurting you and the negatives that come with it, and you just telling, we taking perks and we doing this, and you're not telling how many of your friends is dying, how many people is locked up, or whatever that comes with that, then you just being a false prophet for me, and I can't do it.
But is that fair? Right? Like I know it is, but there are a lot of people who say, as an artist, they are not responsible for raising your kids.
But that's not true, because as an artist, you especially as my kid's favorite artist, you spend more time than my kid than I do. Because when I ain't talking, they got you in their headphones, they going to YouTube to find you. So you have to have some level of responsibility. And if you don't have responsibility, then it's our responsibility to make sure that you don't have the ears of our children. So that's what it comes down to me. It's like, I get it, you don't need responsibility, but we need to make sure that you ain't over here spreading this poison to these kids because it's pretty much like a cult leader. You understand? Music has that same level of cult. If you look at the fans that musicians have, that they jump and they fall out when you see people live their lives on the words of these artists. So if a cult leader can have 10 people in the room and say, "Yo, I want y'all to kill each other or kill yourself," and he just keeps saying,
happen often.
but it has happened. It's not saying it happens often because that was the message that the cult leader wanted to tell, and we've seen it happen. So if you're an artist and you keep saying lean and perks and we on perks and lean and perks, then you have influence.
It's a lot of these young artists that talk about that stuff all the time.
Way too many.
But when you talk about artists and music, it brings me to this place where I'm just so proud. I'm so proud of Mary J. Blige.
Oh, Mary, the queen.
Until I
queen
can't
is
even
so
write a
renowned,
post because I be getting choked up. This is 25 years
That's
of
crazy,
the My Life album. That was the album that, to your
my
point,
life,
she
my
has.
life.
I wouldn't call it a cult, but we are a following. Oh my God, it's amazing. You rap. Singing, I don't think you do singing.
When it comes to Mary, I could do whatever.
Well, this is true. That's the thing about Mary J. Blige's music, right? Like, you can sing. You know, it doesn't matter if you have a good voice, a bad voice. It doesn't matter. You can just
get some
sing
tune,
Mary forever.
And you feel like you can. Even if you can't, she just make you feel because you feel so connected to Mary. Mary is iconic in so many facets of the word of icon, man. Like, she created something, recreated herself, rebranded herself, and continued
several times over.
Like, she has been able to transcend and continue to be relevant in so many different time periods of music, man. So when you think about 25 years.
At 25 years ago, I was 15 years old. I'm literally 6 months almost to the day of turning 40. So, you know, I'm on this little, like, I'm going to be 40. Who do I get rid of? Who do I keep? What do I do? How do I get better, stronger, the whole thing? And I think about being 15. That's like when we really discovered love. Like, I thought I knew. I think my heart was already broken by 15.
At 15.
And my life was like, I know what the hell I was singing, but I knew it was like it was like turning my insides and she would take you through feeling good about yourself.
Mary is one of the only singers and women that could bash a man and the man still love her.
She really was
not really bashing. She wasn't
men.
bashing. She was just telling her story, and it was like, damn, he hurt you. Like, you didn't feel like, come on, because women would play it. Women would play it to you like they mad at you, and you didn't even care. You still she mad at you, and you still singing Mary like.
But you know what's funny? 25 years ago, that's probably true. That's how many people interpreted it. But the other day when we were coming down to your Kings Stop Killing Kings march in Baltimore, Angelo, our brother, we were listening to the lyrics. And she really wasn't bashing men at all. She was actually talking a lot about love. Some of it was pain, but a lot of it was more so about when you love your man, when you really into your man, when your man is into you. Yeah, see, those are like 2 songs, like 3 songs. But there are so many other songs that were not about, like, bashing.
No, she never really bashed. I'm just saying she gave women a voice for pain.
To explain
pain
with passion.
in relationships, and it was so good that the men even gravitated to it and grabbed on while the woman was using it against them. That's what you know what I'm saying.
You know when they were using it against
because women were singing. Women, you'll come in the house, okay, whatever. You come in the house and you know your girl mad and she playing Mary and she looking at you and she singing the song and you still dancing like, nah, she killed this. You ain't even you know she mad at you and she using it to say something to you. But you still just singing. You like.
I would suggest, because as I said, Angela and I were listening, and he was talking about the woman bashing, and then we listened to song after song, and he like, yo, this is some like powerful.
But it always was
Bible music. So you need to listen again, because you might hear that it's probably 2 or 3 songs that might be.
She never really bashed. I'm just saying she gave the voice to women that were mad at their mans.
That's probably
That's it.
True.
That's definitely
what
or
heartbroken.
Yes, definitely.
are heartbroken.
Yes,
And
yes.
and
So-
putting the pieces back together.
Yes.
We watched Mary put the pieces back together.
And she
many
broke a couple of us
times.
down too at the same time while she put the pieces. Because a couple
It
of dudes was
probably was necessary.
Yeah, yeah.
One thing we have to say about Mary J. Blige
Consistent.
is that consistency, but truth.
Oh,
It
no,
was
she was always
always
the
her
truth teller.
true self, and the storyline was always true. And that's why we relate to her so much, because we are Mary and she is us.
Yes, she is, man. Shout out to Mary. Congratulations on 25 years.
We're not even giving her the type of love that she deserves right now. Like
No,
it should
because
be,
she's supposed to
the
be here.
internet
You're
should be
married.
shut down.
Mary, listen, we need you
We
to come
need
up
you.
here so we
Right.
can hug you. We want to show you love. Like, we want you on Street Politicians. Like, come on, make that happen for us, man. We love you. What you mean to our culture, what you meant to me as a young boy growing up seeing you, man. This, the essence. And you was, like, right from Yonkers, like, right down the block. And I was in the Bronx, and I used to be like, yo, Shorty is just dope.
Go Mary.
Go Mary.
Go
Like, she was in
Mary.
the skate
Go
key.
Mary.
Like, you couldn't go to
She was
skate
the
key with,
skate
no,
key?
I'm saying them songs.
Oh,
You couldn't, like, they
I
was
was
playing,
like-
they playing Mary in the skate key. You skating them, like, Mary was for every aspect.
What's
of
the
life.
411, hon?
For real, man.
Yeah,
so shout out to
yeah.
you.
But so that means we missed the 25th anniversary of What's the 411? We gotta get it
More than
together.
likely, we gotta get our life together. We do.
It was a good show.
Good show.
So glad to have everybody to join us on Street Politicians. We talked about a whole bunch of topics. We want folks who have comments, questions, thoughts, ideas.
Things you want us to
topics
talk
you
about,
want us
yes.
to talk about, things we need to learn together, to hit us up, to send us all your thoughts. You can send us all your thoughts. You can look at the information on the screen and get in touch with us. And also, you can reach each one of us directly. I'm at Tamika D. Mallory. That's with an I, not an E. Shout out, shout
that's
out to
on
the people
Instagram.
with the E's, but it's I, Tamika D. Mallory, on Instagram, on every platform. I'm
Okay.
Tamika D. Mallory. I don't check Twitter because Twitter's where crazy people
Oh,
live.
yeah, I don't go there either, but I come sometime. But I'm on Instagram mostly. It's Mysonne, MYSONNENY General. You can follow me there. Or sometimes I'm on Facebook, and I'm on Twitter at Mysonne sometimes. But, like we always say, we're not always going to be right. You're not always going to agree with us, and we might even be wrong. But we will always be authentic.
He might be wrong.
Salute. Yeah, she's not
Nah.
wrong. You know how they do. Peace. That's how we own it.